If you've ever heard of bodybuilding, chances are you've come across the name Tom Platz. Born on June 26, 1955, in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, he's not just another athlete in the Sports Hall of Fame. He's a living legend. Standing 5 feet 8 inches, 1.72 meters, and weighing anywhere from 238 pounds, 108 kilograms, in the off-season to 212 to 223 pounds, 96 to 101 kilograms. On stage, Tom stood out for the perfect blend of strength, definition, and a magnetic charisma that won over crowds all around the world. But what truly put him in a league of his own were his legs. With a jaw-dropping 32 inches, 81.3 centimeters, of thigh circumference, Tom Platz redefined what was humanly possible for lower body development. They weren't just big, they had an insane level of muscle separation and definition that's still the gold standard for athletes and coaches today. No wonder he became known as the father of the quadriceps. And that wasn't all. His fame grew thanks to the nicknames he proudly carried. The Golden Eagle, a nod to his fearless, soaring stage presence, and Quadzilla, a playful mashup of his monstrous legs and the iconic movie Creature. These weren't just catchy phrases. They summed up a man whose ambitions soared high and whose legs left jaws on the floor. Tom Platz wasn't the kind of athlete who just stepped on stage to hit a few poses. He was a showman, someone who turned every appearance into an event. His magnetic presence and confident stance made crowds rise to their feet, and every movement seemed designed to spark emotion. People say watching Platz perform wasn't just about seeing muscles. It was about feeling a surge of energy and passion in the moment. With Tom, it wasn't only about his physique. It was about how he connected with people. He inspired not just by what he showed in the mirror, but by his relentless work ethic and total dedication to the sport. That's why, even decades after retiring, he's still the subject of seminars, videos, and endless discussions. His legs became so iconic that even people who don't follow bodybuilding have probably seen a photo or clip of them floating around online. That visual impact, combined with his charm, pushed Platz far beyond the bodybuilding niche and into wider sports culture. He's one of those rare athletes whose image becomes a symbol, and that symbol turns into lasting inspiration. When you look at Tom Platz's story, it's obvious this isn't just about numbers or titles. It's about an athlete who, with grit, discipline, and an unmistakable style, built a legacy that's still alive today. But telling it like this almost makes it sound easy, and it was anything but. Tom's journey started in a world where discipline wasn't optional, a military family. Growing up in that environment shaped not only his posture as an athlete, but also the mindset he carried for life, setting goals, respecting schedules, and never quitting when faced with a challenge. That rock-solid foundation of values was the bedrock for everything he achieved in bodybuilding. The turning point came when he was just 9 years old. One day, flipping through a magazine, Tom came across a photo of bodybuilding star Dave Draper standing next to Betty Weider. That moment hit him like lightning. He was instantly hooked on the idea of building a physique like that. Right then, he decided this was the path he wanted. It was the start of a passion that would change his life forever. At 10, his dad fueled the dream even more by giving him a weight set for his birthday. Together, they set up a makeshift gym in the basement. Between laughs and grunts, young Tom learned the basics, adapting his training to the few pieces of equipment they had. It was a humble start, but full of dedication and creativity. Funny enough, in those early days, Tom avoided training legs. Why? Because of a back issue and the old-school medical belief that squats were bad for your spine. That kept his focus on his upper body, building a balanced frame, but leaving his legs for later. Little did he know that those very legs would become his trademark. Things started to shift at 15, when Tom landed his first job in a gym. Even though he was underage, the owner saw potential in his build and hired him. There, Tom met seasoned athletes who corrected his technique and, most importantly, taught him how to squat the right way. That was the real game changer in his development. Tom's transformation kicked into overdrive when he moved to Detroit and started training at Armento's gym, home to some of the greatest Olympic lifters of the era. Among them was Norb Szymanski, a weightlifting legend who instantly recognized Tom's genetic potential for building massive legs. Under that influence, Tom learned not just how to train, but how to treat the squat like a sacred ritual. That period was like planting the seed of a tree that would one day leave its mark on the sport. Back then, Tom had no idea his legs would eventually be hailed as the best in bodybuilding history. But what lay ahead would demand far more than good genetics. It would take relentless work, sacrifice, and a bulletproof mindset. Tom Platz made his competition debut in 1973 at the Mr. Adonis. Still young, he stepped on stage with determination, fully aware that the road ahead was long. For the next 5 years, he competed as an amateur, fine-tuning his physique, learning to handle the pressure, and developing the unique style that would later become his trademark. It was a time of building, not just muscle, but mental toughness. The big breakthrough came in 1978, when he won the IFBB Amateur World Championships in the light heavyweight division. That victory proved he had what it took to compete at the sport's highest level and open the doors to the professional circuit. From that moment on, the dream wasn't just a distant goal anymore. He was officially among the best in the world. Tom knew that to reach the next level, he had to be where the action was. So he made one of the boldest moves of his life. He packed up and moved to California with only $50 in his pocket. His destination? The legendary Gold's Gym, the mecca of bodybuilding, where icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Frank Zane trained. There, Platz breathed the same air as champions, soaking up every bit of knowledge to perfect his physique. His best showing at the Mr. Olympia came in 1981, when he placed third. But that placing came with controversy. Many fans and experts believed he deserved to be higher, and the debate became part of his legacy. That's when he earned the nickname, the People's Champion, not just for his physique, but for the way he connected with the crowd. Even without the sport's top trophy, Tom remained one of its most beloved figures. He continued competing at a high level for years, but his last notable contest was the 1987 Detroit Pro Invitational, where he placed sixth. Not long after, he decided to step away from the competitive stage, knowing his legacy was already cemented. In 1995, he returned to the Mr. Olympia stage for a special appearance, receiving an honorary title. He wasn't there to compete, but to be celebrated as an icon of bodybuilding, a tribute to his career marked by dedication, integrity, and passion for the sport. Tom Platz's competitive career may not have included a Mr. Olympia trophy, but his impact was so massive that, for many, he didn't need the title. He had already won something no judge could hand out: the eternal respect and admiration of fans worldwide. Rolling the clock back a bit, the early 80s Mr. Olympia scene was one of the most controversial periods in bodybuilding history, and Tom Platz was right in the middle of it. In 1980, Arnold Schwarzenegger made a surprise comeback to the stage, shocking everyone. His victory sparked protests and split opinions, setting a tense tone for the following year's competition and paving the way for even more drama. In 1981, Tom stepped on stage with what many still consider his all-time best physique. Weighing around 225 pounds, 102 kilograms, he had achieved perfect balance between his upper body and those legendary legs, which somehow looked even bigger and more defined. The crowd and experts were electrified by his performance, and many saw him as the clear favorite for the win. But the results didn't match the buzz. The title went to Franco Columbu, Arnold's close friend, who was making a comeback after a severe knee injury. While Franco's upper body was impressive, his legs showed an obvious lack of proportion and definition, something everyone in the audience noticed. The judge's decision was met with loud boos and heated protests from an outraged crowd. And it was in that heated moment that Tom Platz proved his greatness went way beyond muscle. Instead of joining the chorus of complaints or letting frustration show, he did something completely unexpected. He congratulated Franco right there on stage, shook his hand, and showed him respect. That display of sportsmanship turned him into a role model for the entire bodybuilding community. That attitude only reinforced his status as the people's champion. For many, Platz had won that night in the moral sense, even without the trophy. His image as an athlete of integrity became just as inspiring as his jaw-dropping physique, showing that character and humility can shine just as bright as muscles and medals. After the controversy, Tom shifted his focus to another side of his career: guest posing and seminars. He traveled the globe, packing gyms and auditoriums, sharing his knowledge on training, nutrition, and mindset. His appearances weren't just talks. They were full-on performances, blending charisma, technical expertise, and motivational storytelling. Those moments became a key part of not just Tom Platz's personal journey, but bodybuilding history itself. Now that you've gotten a glimpse of this powerhouse, let's talk brute strength mixed with insane endurance. Because in bodybuilding, very few names come close to Tom Platz. He didn't just build the sport's most iconic legs. He pulled off feats that still defy logic today. One of his most famous was squatting 635 pounds, 288 kilograms, for 8 to 10 flawless reps. Perfect form, perfect control, the kind of thing that left anyone watching in absolute awe. But maybe even more legendary was the day he cranked out 23 full reps with 525 pounds, 238 kilograms, in the free squat. That wasn't just about moving weight. It was about pushing through pain, holding perfect form, and keeping going when your body was screaming to stop. It became a living example of what it means to train beyond conventional limits. Another almost unbelievable feat was the time he squatted 250 pounds, 113 kilograms, nonstop for 10 minutes straight. Imagine the burning in the muscles, the fight to keep rhythm, and the mental discipline needed to never break form. That display of endurance and focus took his reputation from strong to superhuman in the eyes of fans and fellow athletes alike. Platz was also famous for his marathon sets. On certain leg exercises, he'd knock out 50 or even 60 reps in a single set. For him, every workout was a battle with his own mind, and winning meant going further than the body thought possible. His philosophy was simple and ruthless, trained to absolute exhaustion. His style combined high volume, tons of sets and reps, with high intensity, using heavy weights and techniques to extend the work, like partial reps and isometric holds. The result wasn't just massive growth, but an almost unmatched mental toughness when it came to dealing with pain and discomfort. Tom's workouts weren't for the faint of heart. Even experienced athletes who tried to keep up with him often tapped out before the end. He believed real growth happened exactly at the point you wanted to quit. For him, stopping too soon meant throwing away your true potential. This combination of ridiculous strength, crazy endurance, and an unbreakable mindset is what made Tom Platz not just a great bodybuilder, but a legend whose influence still inspires today. For Tom, training was never just a checklist of exercises. It was built on one core principle. The body only grows when the mind decides to leave the comfort zone. He trained by instinct, adjusting weight, reps, and even range of motion depending on how he felt in the moment. One of his most interesting mental hacks was wearing high socks while squatting. It created the visual illusion that his legs were shorter, tricking his brain into thinking the bar had a shorter path to travel. That tiny perception shift let him maintain intensity longer and push deeper into the set. Unlike most athletes, Tom never set a fixed number of sets. For him, a workout ended only when absolute muscular failure was reached, that point where your body literally can't do another rep, even with max effort. That mindset put him on a different level, allowing him to pull out results that almost no one else could touch. In the 80s, Tom's training split was simple, but deadly effective. Day 1 morning, chest. Day 1 evening, back. Day 2, shoulders. Day 3, arms. Day 4, legs. Day 5, rest. Then, the cycle started all over again. This setup let him hit each muscle group with maximum intensity while still giving it enough time to recover. When it came to legs, his exercise selection was as classic as it was brutal. Free barbell squats, hack squats, leg extensions, leg curls, and calf raises in every variation imaginable, standing, hack machine, and seated. The equipment didn't matter. What mattered was the intensity he put into every single rep. Tom also believed in the power of training variations to keep muscles constantly adapting. He mixed in partial reps, isometric holds, and slow negatives, always looking for ways to shock the body and avoid plateaus. Each workout wasn't about reinventing the wheel, but about pushing his limits in a new way every single time. If Tom Platz's workouts were legendary, the diet behind them was just as serious. He knew muscles weren't built on iron and sweat alone. Nutrition was the foundation. His diet was high in protein, moderate in carbs, and controlled in fats, giving him the energy to train like a maniac and the nutrients to recover from those insane sessions. In the off-season, When the goal was mass and strength, Platz loosened things up. His meals were higher calorie, loaded with generous portions of meat, eggs, whole grain bread, and even treats most pros would never touch, like ice cream almost every day. That human touch to his diet showed he knew how to balance discipline with enjoyment, keeping motivation high year-round. Pre-contest was a whole different game. The focus shifted to razor-sharp conditioning, so calories came down and indulgences disappeared. Lean fish, potatoes, a variety of vegetables, and carefully measured fruit made up the bulk of his meals. Everything was weighed, measured, and fine-tuned to strip fat while keeping every ounce of muscle. For Tom, consistency was king. No matter the season, he stuck to a strict eating routine without wild detours. That steady discipline meant his body was always primed to respond to the demands of training, whether it was packing on size or stepping on stage looking like skin shrink-wrapped over muscle. Meal frequency was another key factor. Platz ate several times a day, avoiding long gaps without food to keep his metabolism firing and provide a steady stream of nutrients. Every meal had a purpose, fueling a workout, repairing muscle tissue, or replenishing glycogen stores. This wasn't just a diet, it was part of his life philosophy. For Tom, training hard and eating right were non-negotiable commitments. He knew killing yourself in the gym meant nothing if you didn't give your body what it needed to grow. That discipline, in both training and nutrition, is what made him an icon in bodybuilding. Because at the end of the day, what fueled Tom Platz wasn't just food. It was the passion to outdo himself every single day. Tom's story didn't end when he stepped off the competitive stage. Outside of contests, he proved his strength went far beyond the physical. With academic credentials that include a bachelor's in physiology and nutrition, a master's in sports science, and an MBA, Platz built a strong career on the intellectual side of the sport. He spent 15 years as a university professor and even served as a director for a major sports company, always spreading knowledge and passion. That transition didn't pull him away from bodybuilding. It expanded his influence. Tom became a sought-after international speaker, delivering messages on elite training, motivation, and champion-level mindset to athletes and fans worldwide. His presentations aren't just technical, they're pure inspiration, sparking the fire in anyone who wants to reach their true potential. His influence has crossed generations. Many of today's top bodybuilders cite Tom Platz as a direct influence, both for building legendary legs and for his unbreakable mental approach to training. His philosophy is simple but powerful: never leave the gym a loser. For him, it's not money that drives an athlete. It's heart, passion, and the willingness to push into extreme pain in pursuit of a goal. Platz proved that bodybuilding is so much more than just aesthetics. It's about discipline, resilience, and pushing past your limits. He showed that obstacles can be turned into opportunities, and that the real victory is inspiring others to become better, both inside and outside the gym. His legacy isn't just in titles or jaw-dropping feats, but in the lasting impact he's had on thousands of lives. Now I want to hear from you. What part of Tom Platz's story impressed you the most? Was it his insane strength, his unbreakable mindset, or the character he showed in the toughest moments? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to read your thoughts and trade ideas with you. If this video inspired you, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and bring you more legendary stories like this one. You can also consider becoming a channel member to support our work and get access to exclusive content. And of course, make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell turned on so you never miss a video. Before you go, click on the video that's about to pop up on your screen. It's another incredible bodybuilding story I'm sure you're going to love. I'll see you there.